Welcome back to another quick hit with Whiteboard Webcast and Strategic Point Marketing. I want to talk to you today about another quick case study. Just something to kind of think about, get your blood pumping a little bit, and give you a little bit of a different perception. Today we're going to talk about numbers, running your numbers, knowing what costs to invest into marketing to know what kind of results you're going to get back from those dollars invested. So what we're going to look at today is a company that came to me and said, hey, we want to run radio. Josh, we understand that you are Chief Marketing Officer, that you're in charge of placing media, buying media, and all things media for our company and making our phone ring. But we want to run radio because last time we ran radio, it worked great. And we stopped running radio, and as soon as we stopped, our phones died. So I said, okay, let's talk about that for a second. Before we just jump off the cliff into radio world, let's actually identify if that's the truth or not, because here's what I knew about this company and what was going on. So as I took a step back and asked them some questions, here's what we found out. The first thing is I said, when did the phone stop ringing? The entire group sat there and thought for a minute, and they said, well, it was probably about 4 months ago, something like that. Some of them said 1 or 2 months ago. The final consensus was no more than 4 months. Well, I looked at the time period that we were in at that meeting, and I said 4 months back would be this date. Is that correct? Does everyone agree with this? Yeah, that's about the time that it stopped ringing. And that's the time we shut off radio. I said, okay, are you sure that's when we shut off radio? They said, no. I said, that's the case. That's where we have to actually hit the nail on the head. We shut off radio 8 months ago, but the phone stopped ringing 4 months ago. That means it took 4 months for your phones to stop ringing. I said, do you really think that radio was the direct effect of your phone stopping? Well, a lot of them said, yeah, it is. They sat there, they thought about it. We talked about it a little bit more, and the final result was they said, yeah, we think it was radio. And I said, when radio stops, it's not in their mind anymore. At most, maybe 1 month. I'll give you 1 month that the phone continues to ring because it's still awareness. Maybe someone wrote it down, but not for 4 months. When you shut radio or television down, that type of medium, the results will go from whatever you were getting and they will drop off pretty quickly. It's not one of those things that'll keep going like this and slowly bring down. It kind of goes whoop, down and it's done. So what we have to do is identify, is it really working? Then we have to look at when we invest money, what kind of dollars are we going to get back? So here's what it is. I always say there's got to be a crystal ball, right? Now everyone always taught me in the marketing world as I was being groomed by different mentors in different stages in different companies. I was taught there is no crystal ball in marketing. Absolutely not. There's no crystal ball. And I actually look at that theory and defute it, say, no, yeah, there is. And here's what it is. Brain power. That's your crystal ball. It's called logic. It's called know your numbers. So here's what I did. I ran through these, and hopefully you can maybe pause this tape and read these. But here are the questions that you always ask in any type of medium of what you're going to get back when you invest money. The first one is, out of all the people that see your ad, how many will be thinking about buying? Out of the people that see your ad and are thinking about buying in that direct medium, how many will visit your showroom or call you? So a website visit, a showroom visit, or make a phone call. So it goes from step 1 to step 2. The third step, once you're in person, how many will actually watch a demo? So now I'm a prospect for you. I walk into your sales room floor and you want to demo me. You want to offer me something. You want to sell me. Now a lot of people will say, no, I don't have time. I'm just looking. I'm just browsing. That's not a demo. A demo is going to be when you actually, they say, yes, tell me about this product. I want to know something more about your TV or whatever you sell. That's a demo. And then we identify what your closing ratio is. We have to know the closing ratio, not just in that medium, but on all counts, all fronts, because you might be closing higher in one source and lower in another source. So you need to know that. And then out of the percentage of people that may buy, how many will return that product or potentially return that product? What does that number look like to you? Well, some people there is no rescission. Once they install a new bathroom or kitchen or buy a new car, they won't return it. But for some people that are selling smaller products to a larger mass, they might get some returns. So you have to identify what your return ratio is then. So here's what we look at next once we've identified these. The first one is called pay-per-click, just in the 3 models I'm going to give you right now. In PPC, called pay-per-click, we have a 99%. In other words, if someone goes into Google or a search term and they type in a keyword, they are specifically looking for it. So 99% of the people that see their ad are thinking about it. Here's your next pitfall though. 15% out of the people that are searching for your keywords are actually going to hit your online showroom, your website. Because Google odds basically give you in between a 33% chance to a 66% chance, depending on a lot of factors. So I bring that number down a little bit to 15%. The next one is 80%. So how many will actually demo? So once they hit your website, what's your bounce rate? Well, really, if you have your bounce rate around 50%, you're doing pretty good. But 80% of people will actually dig through your site. That's a good number. And then your closing ratio, I put it at 30 because that's a general number there. And then a small rescission. You can do this with print. With print, I give you about a 6%, a 65%, because if they do see your ad and they are interested, you have a higher percentage of chance of driving them somewhere. Another 80% is the same as the pay-per-click and the 30%. And with radio, we looked at 8%, 70%, 85, and 30. You can rewind those numbers. You can take a look at them anytime you'd like on this video. Now here's what we ran. What we know is that we needed an ad budget to sales ratio to be about 10 to 12%. So their ad budget to sales ratio we put at 11.1. That's what our goal is. That's what we're shooting for. Now here's the numbers on the spreadsheet that we put out. Your projected budget was $5,000 to run in radio. If your average sale is $1,800 and your gross profit margin is 47%, that means your average margin per sale is $850. Out of the people that are hearing your ad, you need to plug that number in here. But what that number is going to tell you is what the salesperson of that radio spot is going to tell you is this many people per month will hear your ad. That's great, but keep in mind on radio, that crowd never changes because most people don't listen to one genre 100% of the time and never flip over to something else. For instance, I never listen to Tejano music. I think it's interesting, but I don't listen to a lot of Tejano music. So I'm never going to hear that ad. So that DMA is always going to stay the same. So getting educated from the website, that means for us to hit this 11.1, we need 25 sales. What I did is I worked my math backwards. If you want to know more about this, sign up for Whiteboard Webcasting, get involved in our Knowing Your Numbers strategy. But here's the bottom line of this case study and why this would be a poor choice for this company. For them to break even on a $5,000 spend and hit their ad budget to sales ratio, profiting their money of about $16,000. So spend 5, you need 16 back to make it a profitable campaign. They need 25 sales. To get 25 sales, they need to have almost 1,800. It's 1,768 in case you have a hard time seeing that. 1,768. That's 1,700 people that have to not only hear their ad, but be interested at some level in what they offer. Now, my question to you in your marketplace, if you're looking to run a radio ad like this or any type of ad, is how many people have to be interested in your marketplace that you're blasting your message to make it fruitful for you to hit that 10 to 12%, generate enough sales for cost spent. Know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. If you don't, you will continue to spend and never receive what you're actually looking for. That means cost per lead, cost per sale, closing ratio, and all the numbers that we've just talked about. If you want more information, sign up for our Whiteboard Webcast. I'd love to share a lot more information. You can also ask us about Beyond the Basics Whiteboard Webcast program, where we get much more in detail with every single program. Thanks for watching this case study from Strategic Point Marketing and Whiteboard Webcast. We'll see you soon.